Alrighty. Welcome to the Eric Wood podcast. We are on the road to the supernatural. Today's topic is, does your DNA tell you your story? Does it tell you the truth? Can DNA predict your future, your past, where you from? Now, the reason I'm bringing up this topic, and guys, what's going to be awesome is Dr. Wu is going to be up here right after the intro. We got the Dr. Wu because if you guys remember, I don't remember, like, I was almost like 2-3 months ago when I went to the VA for the blood thing, uh, for the experiment or whatever they want to call it, the research. Well, I got some results back of my DNA. So I thought, hey, let's check this out. We'll all look at the DNA thing. Remember, this DNA is not from Slava. This was from like 10 pints of blood that they were just pouring out. So this is going to be kind of cool. Bob hasn't seen the results. Now, not all the DNA results came in, but now it starts coming in. The DNA results are now coming in. And I told you guys that I was going to share. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to share some DNA. We're going to talk to Bob. Like, can DNA tell you who you are? Can it predict who the person you're going to be in the future? Well, we're all going to look at it together. We're all going to make our own decisions together. So beyond that, I'll play the intro. Dr. Wood be up, and we're going to get this show started. So here we go.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass. Did you see it?
All right. Now, Bob, right before we talk about the DNA, I got to bring this up. Because in all my life that I've been born, last night was the best presidential debate that I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God, that was so fun. I was eating popcorn. I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, I'm watching these two bozos. One guy, everything he done is perfect. It was exceptional. Nobody's ever seen anything the likes of it. And the other guy, I don't know if he ever showed up. I mean, it was just, Bob, there was a moment that I could not believe what I was seeing. I don't know if you watched it last night.
I didn't watch it.
Bob, there was a section in that debate that they were talking about handicaps playing golf. I'm serious. Trump's like, I can hit a ball far, probably harder than you can hit. And then Biden's like about hitting the ball, about the handicaps. I mean, they were literally talking about who can hit the ball harder, because the question of how old, you guys are both old, and it was just like,
oh my God.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is wonderful, because I mean, and if you watch the news today, everything is about how Joe Biden was looking horrible. His voice was horrible. I was like, today there are going to be so many memes, because when you watch this, every time Trump talked, you saw Biden like this. I mean, it was priceless, Bob. It was priceless. And I was thinking, you know how you saw homeless crisis. You know how you make money? You know how you get money for the homeless crisis? I'm like, if you put a pay-per-view event of of Donald Trump and Joe Biden playing golf contest, and you get Adam Sandler to play Happy Gilmore to host it, and you get Bill Murray to dig for squirrels, dude, that would be the biggest pay-per-view event ever, and you could take all that money and you could probably solve the homeless problem.
Oh well, I have a cure for the homeless, sir. And I already have it. I think I told you about an idea I had to help the homeless. You know about coffee luwak, right? You know luwak coffee.
Yeah, we did a show on another channel about cat poop coffee and how you want them to eat it, poop it out, and we can sell it.
Yeah, and they make I mean high end coffee. So I was like, figured if I'd round up a lot of homeless people and secretly fed them the same beans, and have the homeless people defecate in the buckets, and we clean it all off, and then we could sell it back to the rich.
Yep.
Kopi Luwak. But they don't know. They'll think it's coming out of Indonesia, like from the cats, but they're actually coming from the homeless.
So people in the chat, if you don't know what Dr. Wu's talking about, I had another channel called it's called Morning Coffee Diet. And I actually ordered this cat poop coffee.
Yeah,
it's very expensive, and it like this little thing I had here, just to make one cup was like over $50.
Yeah,
and when I got this, it had a certificate to say how authentic it's this, and what it is a certain kind of a cat. Bob knows the name.
Marsupial
and
cat.
They feed them the coffee beans, they eat it, it digests, and they poop it out. And the system does something to the beans.
Yeah, the acid in their stomach. The acid in their stomach removes the tannic acid from the beans. So the coffee is a really smooth, mellow coffee. It comes from cat poop. I figure we could do the same thing, but we just ask the homeless to eat. And like if we want flavored coffee, like say if you want McDonald's Big Mac flavored coffee, you get a couple of homeless guys, you give them some McDonald's, and then also have them eat the fresh coffee, the coffee berries, and then have them digest it and then separate it all out. Bet you that coffee would taste like McDonald's.
Yeah. So live on air, I was drinking like what they consider the most expensive coffee in the world. Of course, I can only afford one cup. And of course, honestly, the flavor, I don't know, wasn't impressive. Wasn't impressive for that price. But I guess for rich people, I guess is like the idea of drinking a coffee bean or like I said, coffee berry that went into a cat. And
yeah, when I first bought my house, one of my house gifts from my workplace from one of the big shots, it got me a bag of Kopi Luwak coffee. And I was like, "Is this cat shit coffee?" You go, "Yeah." I go, "Okay." It was a house gift, housewarming gift. So me and my son, Jeremiah, we got up and we were both drinking it, going, "It tastes like coffee." It's just,
I know.
A little bit flat.
But man, if anybody heard the Green Day song this year that the American Dream was killing me, if you guys watched the two people running for president last night, the American Dream is killing me. It's really killing me. But the only interesting thing of the whole thing, the only part of the whole thing I was a little bit interested in is when they talk about the VA stuff. Because you and I do the VA stuff, and both of them actually did some decent things with the VA in a lot of different ways. But one thing was not interesting now. I know Trump sent more money to the hospitals, which I've seen the results, which is good, actually good results. Now, Biden did his 2019 PACT Act. What the PACT Act is, it allows the veterans to put certain claims in that they weren't allowed in the past. But there's a problem with all that. Now, because people can put in more claims, that's the good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
But what it did is it created this backlog even more. Oh. And they never hired more people to take in the added applications. And the thing is, people like yourself that have some things in claims going through, it's taking even longer. Oh, there's people now that their claims not even getting worked on to 2-3 years later.
Yeah, mine's 3 years.
Yeah.
Over 3 years.
So the PACT Act is good only if you hire the people that can handle to do all these claims.
Mhm.
But that's political talk. But the thing is, the VA is very important here because this DNA thing, if everybody remembers, there's a program out there that's called All of Us Research Program. What the All of Us Research Program is, they're taking over 1 million people and doing blood. They're doing DNA from blood because they want to determine like certain traits. Is it like on average, like Bob, like if you do DNA traits,
Yeah.
and they try to say certain things that you guys will see in these results. You can't just base everything off 1 or 2 people, but if you've got like over 1 million people,
Yeah.
then you can start putting where the traits can make sense.
Yeah, they're doing a draft. Yeah.
A draft.
Yeah.
Basically a draft.
Yeah.
So I remember I told you guys when I went down there, I did it. I said, fuck it, why not? I don't care. I don't care if there's 100 clones in
Shit.
me.
Was it like $5,000 worth of result stuff? And then it cost somebody like over $5,000.
And I haven't got all the results back, but they're now finally putting in some results. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign in here, and I want you guys to see my sign in. You guys aren't allowed to see my login, but let me share the screen here. Here, share the screen. Here we go. Okay. Can you guys, Dr. Wu, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the screen. All of Us Research Program. There's my name. And you see here my date. I think it's under my data. Let's see here. All right, here we go. Okay, so under my data, there's measurements. They take, because with this thing, they do your measurements. They look at people's health records, because they want to build like you said, a draft of trying to get closest to possible on when they tell you some of the DNA results. Now, here's DNA results. Now, this is not everything, but some came in. So let me press on that.
Let's see.
Okay, so far they broke down some categories: genetic ancestry,
wow,
bitter taste perception, cilantro preference, earwax type, and lactose tolerance.
Oh, that's an important one.
Yeah, now these are on here so far, and of course they said they're gonna be more and more and more when they get more of these results in. So let's look at genetic ancestry. Let's see what my result says on this.
Oh,
all right. It says Northern and Central Europe, 100%, such as Ireland, the United Kingdom, Germany, France, Scandinavia, and parts of Eastern Europe. So what this is saying is
you're Viking.
We're from Europe. So, Bob, that really puts in the claim that you and I are the rightful royal family of Europe.
Yeah. Yep.
So I wish it broke it down like more on this part on individuals, but it probably will. Europe, the genetic ancestry group represents people from the area Europe, Russia, and Mediterranean. Of course, mine's from Russia. It also includes those Ashkenazi Jewish ancestry for many historic culture. Okay, this is just telling you definition. But for right now, 100% where we're from is Europe.
Yeah.
Which, I'm sorry, we can go back in. Which you and I knew that.
Yeah, I already knew that.
I mean, percentage-wise, my percentage it could be a little bit different than each person. But yours and mine will be close, but you could be a few points off. Majority of the percentage is actually Scotland, and then Europe and Ireland. But they're also close. I mean, it makes sense.
And Wales,
it's probably safe to say that William, William Wallace is probably in our family. Just
Yeah.
saying. We're warriors. We're nobody warriors like William Wallace was. We're all nobody warriors, and
Yeah.
we should be the actual royal family of Europe. You and I know this.
Yeah. Well, I got diagnosed with it's a genetic thing. It's called Viking hand, and it's in our family. It's when your hands are real big and they lock easy. It's a certain genetic trait for that, and the doctor was talking about. There's a special name for it, but generally it's called Viking hands, and it's a trait that came down from the Scandinavians and it's carried with them as they moved through Europe. And a lot of people have them, carried them down, got them, and I got it too. So yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, so I knew that.
So basically, like I said, this is based on blood, not slava. So
Yeah,
this is
blood.
better,
This is actual. That's genetic markers. That's the big
Yes.
difference. Actual DNA within the strands of the DNA markers. Yeah, big difference. Markers with your DNA strand.
Okay. Now let's go to this next one. Now this one says bitter taste perception. Learn what genes can tell you about how you taste bitter things, which I didn't know I needed to know that. But what the hell? Bob, it says, Eric, you're likely to taste certain bitter compounds.
Wow.
Okay. We have 5 types of taste. Here we go. We have 5 types of taste that allows us to censor flavors in our foods. Experts think these 5 tastes involved in us to help us eat nutritious food and avoid possibly toxic and dangerous substance.
Yeah.
Bitter, such as coffee, kale, and chocolate. Salty, such as pretzels, popcorn, and French fries. Sour, such as lemons, rhubarb. Sweet, such as candies, strawberries, and cake.
I have all of those right now.
Yeah. So let me see here.
I have all of those.
Let's see here. Does it say like when I'm supposed to be? Let's see here. Let me see here. Bitterness food. Many health foods are bitter. Food science to the rescue. Okay. Beers, bitter too. So you know that. Oh, here we go. Okay. DNA marker, Bob. RS713598.
Yeah.
Gene TASR38. Your result CG. Whatever that means, I'm a CG. Let's see here.
Wow.
We looked at your place in your DNA that influence if you can taste bitter compounds called, I'm not even going to pronounce that word, or PTC2. While the PTC itself does not exist in food, some vegetables contain a bitter compound similar to PTC. People who can taste PTC can taste similar bitter compounds in vegetables like raw broccoli, Brussels sprouts. About 75% of people are able to taste PTC in related compounds. People who can taste PTC don't taste similar bitter compounds in food. Okay, here we go. This is mine. The TASR38 gene makes a bitter taste receptor, which is part of our taste buds. Bitter taste receptors interact with our food and send signals to our brain to interpret flavors. We analyze your DNA for the results of the genetic variant that alters TAS to allow for the detection of the bitter taste or associated with PT similar compounds. So I guess I can taste some of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
And you know what's interesting? I read about this too. You know, certain people say that certain you could taste like this food tastes like soap.
Yeah.
If you have this, because I was looking this up before we went on the air, I didn't tell you about. I looked at some of this. It's basically, that I'm more likely to be able to test things that taste like soap more than the average person because of this TASR 38.
Yeah, your receptors are a little more tuned into things. Yeah. Which makes you
I I didn't know
eater.
that I needed to know this.
Finicky
But-
eater.
But hey, why not? What is this? Okay, your result, CG. What is this? Your genetic code DNA is made up of 4 letters, ATCG. The sequence of these letters, known as makes up your genes. Change single letters can sometimes alter how your body works. Oh, okay. So my result is CG. Interesting. I know everybody's like, wow. Everybody's just like glued to the screen right now, like, holy cow. Eric can taste soap.
Well,
Hey, this
imagine,
is all
yeah,
for fun.
because people don't realize it, but you technically smell through your mouth. I know how it sounds weird, but part of your smelling is through your taste, and so you will smell things. Like for me, other men stink. I mean, they stink. Like I could smell another dude coming into a room. Like, God damn, man. Oh, I mean, I can smell dudes. They stink.
Well,
Feel
and
bad.
one thing does make sense. I drink my coffee black, and I could tell people that I could taste the bean in the coffee because I
Yeah,
just
me
drink
too.
it black. It's not covered with cream or anything or sugar. So it makes sense why I like certain kind of coffees because I could actually physically taste the bean. So it makes
Right.
sense. Now, this is what I'm curious about, Bob. Cilantro preference.
Cilantro.
Didn't know I needed to know this, but what the hell, Bob? Let's
Yeah.
check it out. Eric,
I love cilantro.
you have a slightly higher chance of disliking cilantro.
Whoa. I love cilantro.
Yeah, it's nature versus nature. People seem to either love or hate cilantro. But how much of this preference is controlled by nature, genetic versus nurture, other environmental factors? Some studies estimate that 38% of cilantro preference is controlled by genetics. But the place in your DNA that we looked at only contributes a little to your cilantro preference too. This trait is influenced by other genetic and non-genetic factors. Well, let's go down here. Let's go down here again. I'm sure there'll be like a Oh, here we go. My DNA marker RS79260083 near 06A2. My results AC. Okay, let's see here. We look at your place of DNA to influence if you have slightly higher chance of liking or disliking cilantro. The percent of people across the world dislike cilantro from 3 to 21%. People who have slightly higher chance of liking cilantro may find it fragile and citrusy. People who have slightly higher chance of disliking cilantro may find it soapy or moldy. You know what? I don't think I really ate cilantro raw. Usually we put it in food. So I guess, you know what? I wish I had cilantro to try it right now to see if it tastes like soap.
Well, the argument here, which is really, it's a great, I know why they use cilantro. It's a great fucking thing because
I know, right?
Well, it's nature versus nurture. And if you guys don't understand what that means is nature means you're biologically born with it. That means it's stock. Your car is stock. It's there. It comes with the stereo. It comes with the windshield wipers. It's stock. As in nurture is something you grew up with and been conditioned to like. For example, Eric and I were raised in a predominantly Latino culture, which is high cilantro in a lot of foods. Had we not been born in a place like that, we might not have liked cilantro because that's nature. So biologically, we're like, oh no, if we were like living in some other place, like say we're living in like Scandinavia and they have cilantro, like, ew, we wouldn't have liked it. But because of nurture, because we were raised eating it, we have a tendency to like it only because it's nurture. We were raised and conditioned to eat it. So that's a great example, nature versus nurture.
And when you're talking about, Bob, you're talking about smells, because right here it says scientific detail. OR6A2 makes a sensor in the nose that helps us perceive smells. Changes near RO6 may impact where you find cilantro fragment, sutury, or soapy and moldy, like you're saying.
Yeah.
almost taste it with our nose.
Yeah, it's strong. It's really strong.
I always thought that because you're right, we both can always smell, like, taste the food by smelling it. I always thought that was because my ears are a little bit more deaf, so the sensor of the nose is more heightened.
Yeah, that would be true though too. That also would be true though. I mean, yeah, yours is a different condition altogether. That wouldn't be, it'd be nature, but however, it's not normal nature because it was an infection, so it wasn't like you're born with it. You got it along the way. That was from bacteria and other bad things. Yeah.
Now, I did not even know that I needed to know this, but there's earwax type. Earwax type. Didn't know that I need to know this for DNA results, but Bob, since it's on here, let's check out earwax type.
Yeah. I like the little graph thing they got.
Eric, you're likely to have wet earwax.
This is why you had that ear infection, Eric.
You know what? When I first saw this, I've always had ear infections. There was always water and blood that came out of my ears. And it's almost like when I saw this, like, oh my God, it's not my fault.
Yeah, it's exactly what we talked about. That's it right there. That's why.
Here we go. Oh. What is earwax anyway? Our skin produces sweat and oil. This happens in our ears too. Wow, that's gross. The gland is the type of sweat gland located in our ears. It secretes a thick liquid that combines with oil, skin, and dust in the ear to produce earwax or ceramics. Get the bad stuff out. Now, earwax traps unwanted particles inside the ear, so technically earwax is good for you.
Yeah.
Then with movement of the jaw, it moves out of the ear canal. Now, the problem is people with my ear canal, it would not let anything come out. So my ear traps everything in there. So when there's an infection where your ear is supposed to clean out the junk, my ears kept it in. Earwax can also protect our ears from bacteria and fungi, which it did not for me. These microbes can't survive very well in the acid earwax. So let me see here. Earwax protects our ears. Okay, earwax does a few things to protect our health of our ears, whether it's dry or wet. Prevents ear canal from eardrum drying out. Help keeps water away from eardrum. Traps dust, bugs, and other foreign objects. Of course, ears also have like tonsils. You know how like we have tonsils for the mouth? There are like ear tonsils in the ear, which mine had to get removed. So wet earwax. Here, let's go to the bottom here. Here we go. DNA marker RS1782291. I hope everybody in the chat. Hope you're writing all these DNA markers.
Write all these down.
Write it down.
Number 2 pencil.
Do your own research on my DNA marker. Okay, here we go. We looked at the place in your DNA that influence whether your earwax is wet or dry. Didn't know I need to know this, but hey, humans have 2 types of earwax. People who have dry earwax have flaky, crumbly earwax that is light in color. It may be tan or gray. People who have wet earwax have sticky, thick earwax that's darker in color. It may be yellow or brown. True, mine used to have some red in it, blood. But hey, we'll go from there. While this place in your DNA strongly predicts your constancy of your earwax, other environmental and genetic factors may have a role. Now, scientific details of the ABCC11 helps move fat and substance in and out of cells. Changes in this gene impact how ABCC1 is, which influences the of earwax. Normal activity creates wet earwax, while produce activity results in earwax. So, Bob, did you actually learn more about earwax than you ever had in the past?
Well, yeah. I mean, now that we know that genetically people are different when it comes to your biology and earwax, that is interesting. That goes to prove that people are genetically different. There are genetic differences. Like we joke about, we had our friend Miguel, he's always been a big dude. He's always been big, solid guy. No matter what he eats, that motherfucker was always huge and solid. couldn't diet. It's because his body is biologically adapted for the desert, and his body wants to store food for long fasting periods of time. So his body is biologically programmed to store fats.
Yep.
That's his biology.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be out in the hot sun walking all day, burning all that stuff up because that's what his biology was for. So a lot of people that are obese or larger or different, biologically their body wants to store for long fasting periods. So people have a different genetics. It's just the way it is. Blood's different, genetics are different, and these are proving that people are not one race. We're all biologically adapted to the environments that we come from genetically, and that's just a fact, Jack.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, the last DNA results for now, like I said they'll constantly keep updating this with more, but the last one is lactose intolerance.
Oh yeah, right. Here's a big one.
Here we go. Eric, you're unlikely to be lactose intolerant. Oh, that's right. Good. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Now, okay. Are there signs you might have lactose tolerance? So basically, lactose intolerance is basically if you have bloating, gas, abdominal pain, or diarrhea about 30 minutes or 2 hours after eating dairy products. You may also be lactose intolerant. These symptoms may happen because your small intestines doesn't have enough lactase enzyme to break down lactose. Lactose is a type of sugar found in milk and other dairy products. Enzymes are things that speed up the chemical reactions to the body. Not everyone with lactose tolerance has all these symptoms. Symptoms can be different between individuals. So, guys, that's just kind of, what lactose intolerance is. But let's go down to what we're all just looking for. Oh, hold on. Okay. What is it? I just saw beef liver, egg yolks. Okay. Oh, these are like consider reducing lactose. This is like how you reduce it. Fuck that. We don't need that. We want to see the DNA marker one. Yeah. Here we go. DNA marker. Write this down, people. RS6754311, and it's near LCT. My result is TT, which I don't know what that is, but who cares? Now, what we looked at and why. We looked at your place in your DNA that influence how much lactase enzyme your body makes. People who do not experience lactose intolerance are usually able to digest lactose because they produce enough lactase enzyme. So I guess I produce a good enough amount. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. People who experience lactose intolerance may not be able to digest lactose because they don't produce enough lactase enzyme. Okay, here we go. Scientific details. The LCT gene is responsible for making lactase. The position in the DNA that was analyzed is the near LCT gene that helps regulate how much lactase enzyme in LCT genes make. And, I am not lactate intolerant, so I guess you could say this one is right on the money for me.
Yeah, because when it comes to genetics, you have the tropical belt, which is like the equator, right? Higher above the tropical belt, up into the colder climates where you were genetically raised around the ice age in cold areas with less sun, your body needs vitamin D. And if you're not getting it from the sun, you got to supplement it from good old-fashioned things with vitamin D in it. That includes milk for your vitamin D. And vitamin D is important for your immune system. In fact, a lot of people right now, Eric, I don't know if you knew, you probably already know this. A lot of people right now are low in vitamin D. Ironically,
yes.
Even when I go back and see my doctor, they're like, your vitamin D is low. I said, it's always low. I don't know what that white ball in the sky is doing because I don't have, so I got to take vitamin D supplements all the time. And people below the tropical belt, more into the down lower and down to the lower, they are lactose intolerant. They can't have the milk. They didn't need the milk. They got the sun. They had a lot of sun. They don't need the milk. They don't need a supplemental vitamin D. So, like in parts of Africa, they can't drink milk. Like, oh, they'll get sick and die because they don't need it. Like in certain parts of Asia, they don't need it. Their bodies have already adapted to lots and lots of sun. As in genetically up higher, there's less sun. So they have to have it. Another clear indication of separate genetics. That's important. That means we can have lots and lots of cheese. Eric, that's why there's lots of cheese in France and all over those other places. Lots of cheese and wonderful vitamin D things.
So,
but you don't see no cheese down in Africa. You know what I mean?
So I just think it was worth doing the blood thing.
Yeah.
For the because when they get more results, they send it right over. And before I was able to look at the results, it makes you sign a paper to say that you are fine with your results, because there's a study that when people think they know where they're from or what they are, they get upset when they find out they're not.
They're not, yeah. They've been lied to by their parents. Like one of their parents is not even their real parents, Like, oh God.
Now, I pulled this thing up here, and I'm not gonna look at the whole. I'm not gonna read this whole thing, but it was interesting that when I pulled this up, because it said, "What if a simple DNA test could predict your future?"
Oh yeah.
And now I was thinking about this. I was actually thinking about that. If they were able to predict the future, remember the movie Minority Report? Like the three people in the swimming pool, they could predict like a killing in the future and all that.
Yeah. The author was Philip K. Dick. Go ahead.
In a weird way, I don't know if you guys ever discussed this in your classes in school. Say my DNA result not really predicts the future, but predicts the future to say that
no, Mr. Armstrong, they don't.
I'm more likely to hurt somebody to the max versus like somebody else. And if that was in the DNA, if I had to go to court for, I don't know, a murder or whatever, couldn't they say it's not Eric's fault because it's in the genetics of the DNA?
No, because then that's called nurture. Nature versus nurture. Your nature is you're inclined to kill the motherfucker. But in nurture, you're not supposed to hurt thy neighbor.
True. But if I have that DNA gene,
you have the
it's
DNA.
More likely that I can. So I might be in a situation that most other people might be in. So it's not really 100% my fault.
Well, that's the old argument. That's an old argument. That's actually because in nature, it's fight or flight. So anyone ever walks up to you, you're biologically prepared to fight. That's to stay alive. It's the same thing as swatting a spider on your arm. It's instinct. You want to do it. It's not your fault. They call it what do they call that? Passion murder. I'm just so mad I killed him. Well, that's nature, but nurture says in the culture you're not supposed to take that large toaster and smash that man's face in with it, or the fire poker. I get it. It's like when someone breaks into your house and they say you have the right to shoot them. No, you don't have the right to shoot them. You can't shoot somebody in your house. I don't care if they break in your house or not. You can't shoot them. You can't kill them unless they're trying to kill you first. Then you got to prove that. So,
There's a question for you, Bob. It says, Bobby, do Asians eat cheese?
Well, a large percentage of them cannot because they are lactose intolerant. They can't. They'll get sick. They'll get diarrhea, stomach bloating, all the bad things that happen because they don't need it. They got the sun. They got vitamin D supplements. They can have other things instead of milk or cheese. And they're not running around with cows milking them. You ever see an Asian milkmaid? You don't really see too many.
Now, Danny wrote, lactose in South Africa is one of the biggest cheese producers in Africa. Google. It's just
it depends on what part of Africa. And you also got to remember, Mr. Statesman, that this is thousands of years of migration. And certain parts of Africa actually had people from the Middle East migrate down into it. Also, peoples from the Great Plains migrated down into those areas. So there are different genetics markers, even in certain areas where traders have come in. Traders from the north had come in and traded there and had
Read this
children
one.
there.
Read this one. David wrote, one of my friends grew up thinking the person on his birth certificate was his father. Then he had a DNA test and found out that the Polish friend of the family was actually his father.
Yeah. Imagine finding out, like, you do this is a problem. It caused a lot of problems. You imagine you do a DNA test and you're happy with mom and dad. You got your sisters and brothers. Then you find out that you were a dumpster baby. Hey, you're a prom night dumpster baby. And your parents are like, I got something to tell you. You're a prom night dumpster baby that we adopted.
Well, remember, it's happening as we speak. People who donated like sperms and eggs did not want their names to be known. And people are doing DNA tests and they're finding out who their families are and they're going to them. So it's almost like, and some of these people saying, he's got like 20 people going to his door. So you're my father, but he was doing a donation. So yes, he is biologically, but
there's a movie, Eric, with Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn, yeah.
Vince Vaughn, because he fucked up and gambled away all the money for the business, his father. So he went down to the donor center to donate sperm, and then he had his name taken off the list. And he was doing it so often, like several times a week, that he was doing it for so long to make money that when he had was it over 100-something kids? like they show up to his doorstep, huh? He didn't know it. They had a whole family convention of all his children. It was like, oh my God, how weird is that? Wow.
I remember, I don't know the movie name, but there's another movie had Jason Bateman, and it has that girl from Friends, Jennifer Aniston, and where she's gonna pregnant herself with the sperm, and then Jason Bateman went into the bathroom drunk and stuff, and removed did something and put his own in there, and he became the father. I don't know why I brought that up, but I just thought we're talking about how it's funny where you're spreading your DNA, all right.
Yeah. Well,
wouldn't that be something? You found out a friend of the family is actually your father? Wow.
Well, they ran a genetic marker, and they run some genetic tests at the infancy of stage of it in England, and they found out there's a large percentage of people that actually are related to Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan had hundreds, if not thousands of wives, and he must have banged several times a day, because the volume of genetics that man put out for children is like everywhere. And the old joke goes, everyone's related to Genghis Khan.
Oh yeah.
No, people everyone hear me out here. Now you guys have all watched television, so you see Genghis Khan looking like he's got he's Asiatic in character. No, he's not. He was red-headed, red-bearded, very white, freckled-faced man. He was not of genetically markered Asian descent. He was on the plains, and he was red. The same thing with the Prophet Muhammad. The Prophet Muhammad had red beard.
That's the movie. The Switch. That's the movie. The Switch.
The Switch. Yeah.
That's the one. That's the one where just where he puts his own thing, and then she's having his baby.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I can't remember that movie was any good or not.
I never seen that one.
But is this brothers could be cousins and you couldn't test it? What? Your brothers could be cousins and you couldn't test it.
Yeah, you don't know where you go. A lot of people. A lot of people don't know.
Yeah, there was a doctor that impregnated women with his sperm instead of doctor. Yeah, I heard of that story.
Yeah, he was using his own. And it's really kind of ironic that England, they were starting to ban the ginger gene, they call it, the red gene. They were like, oh, we don't want any more red genes. We don't want red genes, which is probably the best genes to have genetically. But anyway, we don't want the red gene. We're tired of having people related to Genghis Khan in here.
Look at this. Yes, it was crazy. Laugh out loud. By the time he found out who his real father was, both his mom and real father had passed away, as well as 2 half brothers and a half sister. Man, I wouldn't have genes in that family.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe he should feel lucky that he's got gene from another guy.
Well, you remember the royals, the RHO negatives, and for a long time they stuck with the same bottleneck family. It's the same thing in Egypt where brother married sister. And because brothers married sister, they carried on really bad genes, and they had a lot of morphology problems. They had a lot of what was it Mad King Henry? Was it King Henry Madness? I can't remember what his name was. A lot of genetic problems happened. A lot of them. That's why the royals had to split it off. They had to branch out and find other Rh negatives to have children with. They had to reach outside the family lines a little bit because they were getting so bad. They even had children. They have paintings of them with large bottom jaws, and their teeth are all messed up. And even I think the Queen of England had a retarded sister or something like that. The whole families, they're all genetically messed up. I mean, they're really bad. That's why Princess Diana had to go out and have different fathers. She did not have children by Charles. Those 2 boys are not Charles' children. One of them is Prince William's, and he is actually the son of a Rothschild, the old man who just died. And the redhead is the son of a polo player. And they're keeping that quiet, though, because I think old Charles in charge is sterile. He's always sterile.
Probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Bob, do you want to improve your life and build a better future? Would you have your DNA genetic test so you could change your life?
I don't know.
Like this person says here, my life changed forever because she learned that she don't detox well and don't break down toxins. So, I mean, I can see where that's a benefit. It
is a benefit.
Now, they are doing the medical side for me too. So I get to find out that stuff soon.
So this is going to cause a lot of problems with the medical industrial complex, because once people learn how that, even in Asian countries, your blood type is specific and you have a diet according to your blood type. I'm an O negative, and so I have lots and lots of dark greens, spinach because it has lots of copper in it, salmon, lots of copper in it. I have a specific diet that I like to stick to, fruits and vegetables, as in other people can benefit from other vegetables according to their blood types.
Well, here's top 10 benefits of DNA testing.
Yeah.
You're talking about dietary needs.
Mm-hmm.
Genetic nutrition report, like you're talking about, preventing health reports on cancer disease risk, of course, ancestry information, skin profile, based on body and physical traits, addiction tendencies. So I guess, if you have certain addictions, kind of tell you what you might be able to be more.
Northern Europeans have a tendency to drink more alcohol. And the reason for that is instinctively, when it comes to nature, higher cholesterol because of the topography up above the tropical belt in the cold climates. You have a tendency to eat more meats, and more meats have more cholesterol. And so the bodies carry a lot of cholesterol. That's why a lot of people have to take cholesterol medicine that are genetically from the Nortes.
But this could be a scary part of this thing. Say they test everybody on this planet, their DNA, right? Family planning based on your DNA, right?
Yeah.
What if you're a person who did a DNA test and it's not perfect, and if everybody knows everybody's DNA, the chances of, like, if you're a guy that has maybe not great DNA, he might not be able to get a woman because the woman's going to be looking at him like, you can't give me great DNA.
I don't blame her.
You can't blame her. And you couldn't blame him for not accepting that woman if she doesn't have great DNA.
Well, that's what she's supposed to do in nature. That's what she's supposed to do. She's supposed to be selective, which is sad to me because you got guys like Elon Musk, which is a clearly sickly man, out of a sickly area, and he's got weak children. He's a weak man. Only thing he has going for him is American taxpayer, $4.9 billion from the American taxpayer for SpaceX, which was given to him by Donald Trump for fucking 1950 space rockets that are useless. Because of that, he's able to get the creme de la creme of females. Although females have to, if he had no money, females would walk away from that man. Away from me. You're fucking weak. Women need to start selecting strong men again. That's what the problem is. Everyone talks about men are being soft. Well, women are giving in to men with the money. Don't blame them. But they're not picking the big strong men no more. They're not having strong children no more. This is where we're headed.
But say they did everybody's DNA and like look, oh, okay. They should alter the addiction gene. So what if they know your DNA and now somebody wants to play God and say, I could change that genetic in you?
Well, the problem with the addiction gene, again, it goes back to culture. In Northern Europe, where you have a lot of people with high cholesterol, they actually almost invented alcohol. Alcohol thins the blood. Literally, when I say this, and I'm not a medical doctor, so don't go running around buying yourself a 6-pack of beer. But if you have high cholesterol, a glass of wine, a couple of beers is beneficial. Or aspirin. Have some aspirin. It thins out the blood. It helps with the high cholesterol. If you don't have an aspirin, grab a cold beer. Grab a glass of wine in moderation.
Here's interesting. My son's 6 foot, 5'6". His dad wasn't tall, but my family is tall, and he just grew taller. So her side genetics had some tall people, but the other side didn't. But they said, you could take a higher percentage of DNA genetics from one parent versus the other.
It's like a roll of the dice.
40. Some of it is roll the dice.
Or your grandfather. Or your great-great-grandfather. Or your great-great-grandmother. You could have a great-great-great-grandmother. You could be white and freckle-faced and whatever. All of a sudden, you had an ancestor that was of African descent, and you didn't even know it. All of a sudden, you have a child who's got an afro, a little bit different. You're like, honey, did you step out on me? She's like, no. They do a little genetic test and found out the great-great-great-grandmother was, in fact, of African origin. Oh, no shit. It's the same thing with all genetics. It's a roll of the dice. It's the dominant gene versus the recessive gene. For example, in blood types, O's are recessive. That means if you have one parent that is an A and one parent that's an O, the A is dominant, the O is recessive. You're most likely going to have an A. You're going to have an A. You're going to have your children's going to have the dominant blood type, which is A or B. A and B is dominant. O is recessive. I mean, it's to be an O means that you had to have all O ancestors, all the way down, not one A, not one B, because it's recessive. And also, red hair is recessive. It goes away instantly. One parent has dark hair, one parent has red hair. That red hair is gone. It's recessive. Freckles, recessive. Darker skin, dominant. White skin, recessive. So that's just how genetics work.
Want people to know, later today, let me see here, it's almost 11. It's almost 11. At 12:30, in an hour and a half, I'm going to be on Andy's channel. We're going to be talking about a movie, or God, I forgot what it's called. Bay Road, and all that. And Bob, I heard some bad news that you can't go live on your main channel for a week. Is that true?
Oh, sorry, I'm grabbing coffee. Ugh.
No, I'm just saying, a piece of Bray Road. Thank you. I can't believe I forgot that road. It's out there in Wisconsin area. But you can't go live on your main show for a week, huh?
I think I have a day left.
A day left?
Yeah, I had 7 days from the mark. It's just Danny Staten got me, you bastard. It wasn't his fault. I played a song. It was like one of them Godzilla songs or whatever. It was fun though. I'm not mad. And apparently, Eric, you know how Japan is really strict about Godzilla. It it's not a joke. They fuck no. I got a third party. It wasn't even nothing bad. It was just third party strike, and I go from what? I play music all the time. Um, I just don't get paid for the fucking video, so big deal. No, it was a Godzilla song, and I'm like, oh, Japan has that copyright against Godzilla.
You know, talking about music, right? Like I know about putting music on channels because my other channel, Hair Metal Revolution channel, um, there's certain songs that, like you said, I could play, but they
Yeah.
get the money, which is cool.
Am I?
I don't care.
Oh,
But there's certain artists like if you notice on my channel, I don't play any songs from Ozzy Osbourne. I don't
Oh,
play
no.
any songs from AC/DC because you'll get a strike and your video gets taken down.
yeah. Ozzy was a dead killer. Ozzy's music is the Beatles. The Beatles worldwide zero. You're taken down completely worldwide. Ozzy Osbourne worldwide. The hard
Worldwide,
hitters
yep.
worldwide.
Yeah, so when somebody asks me like, Eric, how come when are you gonna do like an AC/DC album? Because like I'll take like a Trick or Treat Fastway album soundtrack and I'll play a piece of every song from it. But and they get the money, which I don't make no money. That's cool.
what I do.
But if I try that with an Ozzy album, boom,
No,
gone.
no.
Can't do it. Can't do it, right? I mean, it's just like, I mean, they control, and I can see Godzilla being completely in control with their music.
Yeah, well, people that watch my video, I always say I have to play a couple songs, hang in there for the algorithm, go grab a smoke, go do whatever you gotta do, go get a beer. I gotta play songs, and then I come back and I look where they're copyrighted in what country, and I have a list of what country, and some of them are worldwide. Well, why is this one worldwide and this is not? What company owns this? So I do a lot of my data and research by playing music. It's part of my format. I just didn't know that. I've never ever gotten a third party strike though, and that's like a brutal. That's what you get for like hate speech and like bad. For
I
music,
never even heard of third party strike.
and I was like, I have never gotten a third party strike before. What even is that? I even had to do a little quiz. YouTube
Yep.
will shade some days off.
Yep.
And they talked about third-party content, and I'm like, oh my goodness, boy, whatever.
Godzilla
was
Did
brutal.
you at least for the hell of it try to peel it just to peel it?
Yeah. Again, I didn't mind because it's information, and I just know where to stay. That's a landmine. Anything to do with Godzilla, that's a landmine because Japan has a hardcore. Eric, you know that copyright on Godzilla. America did that. Godzilla was in the 90s. And didn't Japan was suing the copyrights for Godzilla?
Well, the thing was when they did that, because I learned a little bit about what you're talking about the contracts. Yeah. When America made a deal to do Godzilla, for those certain amount of years, they were not allowed to even do a Godzilla. And now the contract was up, and that's why we saw Godzilla -1, which is a great Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
But there was like a contract deal they made that hey, we're gonna do Godzilla. We don't want to see ones of yours because we want people to come here. And of course, Americans Godzilla was not popular. It was backlash. Nobody really liked it, which I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was bad.
Yeah, but man, they don't fuck around though. I mean, that's like no Godzilla, no Godzilla. I played a Godzilla song. And I'm like, oh man, I got a third party strike. Because I often tell people in my sidebar, you guys pick me a song at random, so I can test it out and see where I'm banned at, and I just take it off or whatever. I can go.
Are you gonna go live on your backup tonight?
Yeah. I might go. Yeah, I feel like having a couple beers. It's Friday night, so I'm gonna go live on my Bobbity Boo channel. So I might do a few hours today because tomorrow I think I come back on my channel and I'll do a full one on tomorrow. But yeah, I might have a couple beers tonight and do one. Yeah. It's just because I just feel like having a couple.
Hold on. A couple?
Well, yeah. About 30 or so. For me, a couple of beers, because I'm a big, solid dude, is like 30. That's just the nightcap.
Hey,
And it's just beer.
I got FedEx outside, so my dog's going crazy over the FedEx guy.
Go get FedEx. I'll talk to you people.
And all that. Well, I mean, it's already 11. I gotta do some things. I gotta take some people some places, and then I got to come back and jump on Andy's talk about the documentary, which involves werewolves, dogman, Satanist kind of stuff. So if you guys are into that kind of stuff, jump on over and have fun. So beyond that, man, this was fun. I hope everybody enjoyed some DNA research. I think you can't get better than that, but that's my opinion.
I like it. It's starting to show more and more that people are specifically genetically different, and we need to start looking at that as a difference, not to be racist, but to be more practical when it comes to food and certain things in your lifestyle living. You know, you got to know your genetics. It's getting to that point now. Nothing to do with racism. You could still have anybody from everybody else's culture coming into your life. That's fucking fine. You could even eat their food back and forth, but primarily, it's good to know your own genetics and know what your body.
Once I get more
digesting.
Once they send me more, I'll do another show. I'll continue it, but I'll wait to get like a bunch of 4 or 5 again.
Oh yeah,
and it's just kind of neat. So,
because it's great data.
That, we'll see everybody next time on the Eric Wood podcast. See you guys next time.
Gypsy Road Show.
Yeah, that's right.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass. Did you see it?